in a very remote part of Burma, and I'm sure most people who haven't been to Burma, Myanmar, so tell us where that country is.
We are at a crossroad between India and China, and a crossroad between South and Southeast Asia, and we are like gateway to Indian Ocean, Indo-Pacific, and half of population of the world are our neighbor.
Yeah, that's right, between India and China. For those who understand these things, geopolitically, Burma is a very significant country lying between India and China. It's also a very rich country, or has been, but it is still. It was, they called it the, I think it was called the rice bowl of Asia, produced more food than any other country there, amazingly. But also, it's very rich in minerals too, gold, I think timber. It's rich in gas as well too, gas fields, and rare earth minerals. I know a little about rare earth minerals, but if you drive an electric car, you need rare earth minerals. And a lot of other things today that we use. 50% of the whole world's mining of rare earth minerals comes from Burma. You may not know that, it's significant. And it all gets sold basically to one country, which is?
Burma.
Yeah, from Burma to where? Where's it get sold?
To China.
To China, yeah. Okay. Right. So you grew up in a very remote place, in a very mountainous area of Western Burma called Chin State. What do most people believe there? What is their main religion in Chin State?
Chin State is 95% are Christian, but as a country, the whole country, 82% are Buddhism.
That's right. But your state is particularly Christian.
Yes.
Okay. You grew up there. God gave you a vision to become a doctor. Just very quickly, we're going to hear some more about this tomorrow night, but why did you want to become a doctor?
Yeah, I was born in a place where there's no doctor, no nurse, no hospital. So people really gave birth just in the kitchen. So our parents are illiterate. They don't know how to write and read, many of them. So my mother remember only about my date of birth. She says, "You are born in the morning and rainy season." And that's my birthday.
I always say he's always very young because we don't know when he was actually born. Okay, but why become a doctor? You know, you could have done lots of other things. Why become a doctor?
One day, my mother, best friend, was in labor. So 5 days labor, and she passed away because there's no doctors, no nurse, no hospital that can handle that. And so another day, there was 3 of my childhood friends. They died diarrhea the same day in front of our eyes. So when a moment like that happened, it's unexplainable pain, right? It's like it's unspeakable pain and suffering I see. And so I walked to high schools. That take 2 weeks to reach to high school. It's just up and down the mountain, the valley, and rivers and mosquitoes and leeches, snakes. I mean, we could have died very easily. In fact, many people who died and drowned in the river because we live in the mountains. And so, I finished high school in the city, and the day one in the city was like, I cannot take it because even bus.
You never seen
I'm
bus?
terrified. It's just terrified just to see bus. Right?
Terrified to see things here in Sydney.
Electricities and like running water, all those are just, it's odd. Because we go down to the river and take baths. We don't, there's no just running water at the park. So it's totally different. Anyway, it was like, the feeling was like I was traveling to another planet. And I feel like there's a really lostness in me, but I don't know give up because I saw that pain and suffering. Yeah, I really like to help them out. And so finally, I finished high school, but the college was all closed down by the military regime in that year because they don't want us to be educated. So finally, I came back to my village and became school teacher. But again, I saw a lot of atrocities, particularly like the military invaded those villages, and then they start, torture, rape, killing, or forced labor, which became kind of very, very unbelievable and terrifying. And so I hear India open a college, and so again, I came to India to do my college. I have no money. We sold chicken and cows and pigs like that. I make small money. Anyway, I finished my college in India, and I qualified to study medicine here in Australia, UK, US. It's so expensive. So I hear about Armenia, where I can study medicine cheaper. So I came to Armenia, and I arrived there. And day one, all the money is over. The money that I have was just enough to pay for my air ticket. And it was contributed to me by my villagers, with not in cash money, but in livestock. I was out of university because I cannot pay the fee, so I was working Chinese restaurant for a few months. And
and learning Armenian, which was your sixth language at that point. How many people speak 6 languages fluently here? I think you're a winner there.
But I got a scholarship from UK, and then those miracles happened, and scholarship, France, and then British parliamentary, Baroness Cox, which is the friend of, Reverend Dr. Roger. And she became to know about me. That time she was the British Speaker of the House of Lords. So one day I received a letter from British Parliament and said, I want to see you. And when I received the letter, it was terrifying. I tried to run away from it. I can't take it. And finally she arrived and she said, I want to be your mother. And so that way, she brought me to UK, and I started having lots of clinical replacements and more training in the UK. It was all miracle.
And I'm just going to cut the story a bit short there, but after that wonderful training you had, you came back to your people in Chin State. You started a program of training primary care workers, because there are no primary healthcare workers, no hospitals. So you trained 2 people from each village. You trained about 1,000 men and women to be workers, healthcare workers, doing basic primary things like vaccinations, midwifery, basic treatment for malaria and other things too. But long story short, then you eventually got in the attention of the national government because they saw you doing amazing things, and they said, we want you to be in our parliaments. And the military have ruled in Burma since 1962, pretty much on and off for the last 60 years, military regime. But there was a little opening up after 2010, and then in the 2020 elections, you stood for Parliament, got elected. It was a landslide victory for a lady called Aung San Suu Kyi, who was Nobel Peace Prize winner. And you went to the capital of Burma to get inducted or whatever it is into the Parliament. What happened that morning when you woke up?
So I used to pray every morning there because the hope that we start having, effective trust, living hope. So the hope that we brought into our people were really unstoppable. Because I was the first doctor in that part of the world. So every day I used to have to treat about 500 people as I was about to die. It's too tiring. So we multiply to, every man and woman in every village, 2 men and women, and we train. And finally we built the airport, the first airport. We moved 3 mountains, we had to move it to build the airport. So
3 mountains.
So like the Bible says, if you have the faith, you can move the mountain. We do move the mountain.
That's 3 of them.
That became the hope for the nation, actually, because they see that happen. So they brought me to meet with the president, prime minister, everybody, the leadership, right? So they invited me to be in the parliament. And then the first February 2021, the military came and stormed all the parliaments and all the buildings, and they staged the coup, and they arrested so many of our member of parliament.
And you were awake early because you got up early to pray and read your Bible and sing worship songs on the internet, Spotify or whatever. Suddenly there was no Spotify, there was no internet.
So 4 a.m. I used to wake up every morning because the task was so big, so I can't do it. So I was really spiritually, emotionally, physically preparing for a few months, and every morning at 4 a.m. And that morning, particularly 1st of February, I opened my mobile phone and listened, the music, the worship song, and try to pray. But that morning, it does not play anymore. And I was surprised. And then I on telephone and internet, everything was like not normal, they're gone. And so when the dawn came, I looked outside the window. All I see was a military truck and there are a few weapons surrounding us. And then so finally I get the signal from the president's office to escape as soon as possible. And that was how, it was like that, a nightmare. And I dressed as taxi driver. Finally, one taxi driver took me out, and then we are able to escape for 2 days and 3 nights to a safer location.
Yeah. We're going to hear a lot more about that tomorrow night if you can come. But you did escape, and which is wonderful. But you escaped with charges, something like 6 charges.
There's 9 charges against me, and